Alright YouTube, this is my Total BMX setup. Alright, starting from the top, it's a Total BMX frame. Majority of the parts are kink though, because actually I love kink and most of the stuff they actually design is pretty nice. But started off, I have kink bar ends, ODI grips, Odyssey lever. I run dual cables, so I got the lever with the dual cable setup. Those are attached to the original kink solace bars. I love kink bars. I like the way they feel, and they're extremely light. I picked them up cheap, as long with the forks. Cool thing about kink is they try to get rid of their old colorway schemes that are unpopular, so you can pick them up from like 30 or 40% off. So I picked those up. If you're wondering why I have a flange on this side and not that side, it's because I actually prefer to run my brake lever on my left side, because the way I spin my bar spins, I like to catch it without my right hand, without catching the lever. And it was good in theory, but actually I have a harder time putting my other hand back on. I always land on the lever, and so I had to switch it to the right side. Move down to the stem. It's a kink bull stem. I picked that up for 20 bucks on Dan's. I loved the way it looked, and I was gonna actually get it at full price, and then I saw it was for $20, and I was like, well, gotta pick that up. And for the gyro, the Snafu Mobius, it's alright, I guess. I mean, it's better than the original Odyssey, just regular old plate thing that's 30 years old. But I actually wish it had built-in NARP, so it helped adjust the brake cables a little bit better. Down to the forks, or the Kink Foundation forks. I had those for about 2 years, same with the bars, but I picked those up for cheap. And I'm not a big street rider, so I don't break my fucking bike 3 times a day. So they've held up pretty good for the last couple of years. And for the front wheel, I have kink. I think it's Boulevard hub, and that is relates to Alienation Deviant wheel. I love that wheel. It's super light. As with the tires, the Toyota Power Blocks, they're extremely light. I mean, I'd prefer to buy those for like $20, because they're like 11 ounces, than to spend like $200 on tie spokes. It's a fucking way cheaper way to lighten up your front end. Moved on to the cranks. They're the kink cranks. They're pretty strong. Actually, they're very strong. I got sick of running profiles. Profiles are nice, but they're not as strong. And I wanted a beefier crank, because I land crank arm, and they're easier to pinch for like bar spins and that. So I picked these up, and I love them. Just besides, they're ankle killers right here. So I mean, if you're gonna get them, I'd recommend you actually buy ankle guards. But I just recently did like a backflip to like almost flare sprocket, and it landed straight on my crank on the concrete, and it would have bent the shit out of a profile crank. There's no questions asked. And this thing's it held up pretty good. So as for the sprocket, I have the Kink -1 sprocket, and this works well for me because I actually slam my rear end, so my wheel can't really shift much. So I hate when it shifts and mess up my brakes, but that's how I run it, and it's really hard to get to fine tune the chain length. And so when you slam it, your chain, you have to crank on the chain, and it usually chips a piece of the teeth of the sprocket because of how tight the chain is. But kink made the -1 sprocket, so it has -1 tooth, so it has a gap so the chain can fit on when you try to torque it back on. And I love it. It works great, just how it's supposed to be designed. The pedals are the premium slim pedals. They're nice pedals. The pins, fucking, you have to buy extra pins all the fucking time. If you do a pedal grind, say bye-bye to your pins, but they're definitely low profile and they're light. Just recently though, on that backflip crash I was mentioning before, I'm pretty sure I just bent one of the pedals. So I mean, I'll probably pick up some new ones soon. I run 25/9 gearing, and the chain, I think it's pretty much on backwards because it fits pretty loose when it's backwards, but if I flip it around, it's kind of tight. As for the brakes, I got the Odyssey Springfield brakes. They're actually really light and they're like 16 bucks, and if you actually spend a little bit of time to fine tune them, they work really well. The back wheel is a kink inside hub that I got for cheap because no one wanted to buy the polished blue one, so I just picked it up. And that is laced to a Odyssey 7Ka rim, which is heavier than I prefer, but it's definitely stronger. That's the reason why I got it. I kept casing coping on backflips and I destroyed 2 wheels because of that, so I had to pick up a stronger one, and it's actually holding up pretty good.
Yeah.
The back tire is a Demolition Momentum tire. As for the seat, I think it's 4 Seasons. It was like $16 a couple years ago, and it's a nice, actually it's comfy. It's a really fat seat, so I just picked that up. As for the frame, is a total BMX killabee frame, 20.7. I actually really love the frame itself. It's got a really short back end, so even though its top tube's longer, it kind of feels like a smaller bike, which works great for tail ups.
Boom! Ah!
And it has a steeper top tube or head tube angle, so it's actually, you can actually feel a difference doing spins and stuff.
Yeah! Oh, dang.
Which I kind of like it. Any modifications I have this. I didn't do the Mark Webb one where you drill 2 holes out and have the cables go through. I only drilled 1 hole, and I mounted just a London mod on there, so the brakes, the cable's real short between here and the actual calipers. I did that because the usual London mods like here, and then the cables run all the way down here, so when you catch or kick tail ups bad, sometimes you kick your brake cable and it misaligns your calipers and messes shit up. So that's one mod. And then over here, I don't know if you can see it, I hate loose cranks. As you can see, these are actually really tight. The reason why is most people run grips or tires in there, and that worked great for about 10 minutes, but then it just wears away. But Nick Bruce, he actually gave me this idea because he does it, but I ground down a skateboard wheel, and it's tough rubber, so it rubs against the bearing. It gives a lot of friction, so there's not really much like like spinach, I guess, for the crank. And it works great for like decades or tail whips, because I hate, for some reason when I did decades, the cranks want to do a full 180, and it's hard to land switch all the time. But yeah, that's about it. Works great. Usually every time I do a video, I'll buy new parts, so I don't know how much longer this will last, but that's my total bike setup.